A visit to Ferrari town, Maranello, is always a treat, but there's an edgier atmosphere here compared to normal. It's the first time we've come when the legend has been under attack. A half-baked start to the Formula One season has made them a laughingstock. Then there's the global recession, threatening to make indulgent, expensive luxuries like red supercars a dream rather than a deal. So, what have Ferrari done to try to raise morale? Well, they've taken their 599 flagship, costing £193,000, spent £14,000 modifying it, and made it precisely no miles an hour faster. Is this some kind of joke? Of course not. The 599's V12 is godlike and beyond reproach. 620 horsepower and 205 miles an hour are stunning figures that will never, ever need to be improved upon. Instead, the expensive modifications, which they expect 40% of their customers to enthusiastically opt for, focus almost exclusively on the nuts and bolts of going round corners. It's called the 599 Handling Gran Turismo Evoluzione, the HGTE. I'm hoping it's going to address my main criticism of the original car when I came here to test it some 3 years ago. You see, I rather fell out of favour with Ferrari for daring to suggest that their new car understeered a little bit too much. So, what's the handling package aiming to do? Reduce the understeer. So, has the £14,000 been well spent? Well, on these wet Italian country roads, it's really rather hard to tell. The main emphasis has been placed on fine-tuning the suspension itself to try to reduce that understeer and improve the feeling through the steering wheel. The whole car now sits a little bit lower. It's got slightly stiffer springs all round and a stiffer rear anti-roll bar. But perhaps the biggest improvement has come in reprogramming their clever magnetically controlled shock absorbers. They now reduce the roll by up to 36%, depending on the speed of the steering input. Now that is very impressive. The tweaks are, even by Ferrari's admission, subtle. They claim an 8% increase in grip, hardly the sort of fact that is going to impress the girls. But, more interestingly, a 0.6 second improvement in lap time around their private Fiorano test track. Now, I know that doesn't sound like much, but if the Formula One team could buy half a second for 14 grand, they'd bite your arm off. Of course, with the new mid-season testing ban, the likes of Raikkonen and Massa are no longer pounding round and round Fiorano to find that little extra edge, which means there's more track time for us. So, instead of the usual 3 laps, Ferrari are letting us have 6. Even so, I wasn't the only one at Fiorano. Sir Stirling Moss, the 79-year-old super granddad of British motorsport, was in town, testing an ultra-rare 250 short wheelbase he'd once raced. And I just couldn't resist the opportunity to get a personal hero to sit alongside and give me his view of the HGTE. Have you driven a supercar like this?
No, nothing like this.
Have you ever driven these flappy paddle auto shifts?
Shoot, no.
You're supposed to full throttle up shift. It changes at 85 milliseconds, which is better than the previous 100.
Well, it does hold on, doesn't it?
I was hoping for a few incisive comments from Sir Stirling about how the car performed, and he duly offered them.
It's got some bloody anchors, hasn't it?
Perhaps a bit of light conversation would help. But in your day, if you had a bit of a, handling problem, a bit of understeer on the 250, what would you change to get rid of that?
Tire pressures, probably. Roll bars, depending how bad it was. I'm really staggered at the amount of adhesiveness he's got. This would have beaten the Formula One car of my day easily, let's face it. Oh, yes.
But then the urge to drive the car took over again.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, Stirling, about that.
And Sir Stirling fell silent once more. Well, almost.
But
made this car 100% better.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
it's just so much more drivable now. It's a joy.
But it doesn't give you a smooth ride, does it? That's it. God.
So the Ferrari 599H GTE not only has my seal of approval, but Sir Stirling Moss's as well. And you can't say better than that. All Ferrari have to do now is do the same trick with their Grand Prix car.